The morning fog clung to the parking lot of Solaris Technologies like a secret waiting to be told. Gray wisps curled around expensive cars, Teslas, BMWs, Mercedes, the vehicles of people who had made it, who mattered, who were seen. And then there was the Mustang, a 1967 model, paint chipped in a dozen places, rust creeping along the wheel wells like slow-moving disease, a dent in the rear fender that had been there for years, the kind of car that made security guards wonder if someone had wandered in from the wrong part of town. Callahan Vester pushed his cleaning cart past it every morning, 44 years old, gray streaking through his dark hair now, hands calloused from work that had nothing to do with the engineering degree, collecting dust in a box somewhere. He wore the gray uniform of Solaris Technologies' janitorial staff, the logo stitched over his heart like a badge of invisibility. He stopped beside the old car. His car, his father's car, really. The last thing the old man had given him before the cancer won. "Take care of her," his father had whispered from the hospital bed. "She has good bones." Cal had taken care of her, more than taken care of her. But that was a secret, his and his son's, hidden under rust and chipped paint where nobody thought to look. His phone buzzed. A text from Beckett. "Dad, do not forget my science fair today. You promised." Cal smiled, the first real smile of his morning. His son, 10 years old, the reason for everything. The reason he pushed this cart instead of sitting in a corner office. The reason he got up every day. Would not miss it for the world, he typed back. He was reaching for the car door when he heard them coming. Expensive shoes on concrete, voices dripping with the kind of confidence that comes from never being told no. The CEO emerged first, Sloan Whitmore, 42, tailored suit that cost more than Cal made in a month, the kind of woman who commanded rooms without raising her voice. Behind her, a cluster of investors, men in suits that screamed money. They were laughing about something, a deal, a merger, the games that rich people played. One of them stopped, a heavy-set man with a gold watch catching the morning light. He pointed at the Mustang with obvious disgust. "What is that piece of junk doing here?" The group turned, looked at the car, looked at Cal standing beside it in his janitor's uniform. Sloan Whitmore laughed, a sharp sound, like glass breaking. "That car is junk, absolute junk. Someone should have it towed." The investors chuckled. One pulled out his phone, snapped a picture like he was documenting something absurd to share with friends later. Cal said nothing. He was used to this, being invisible, being looked through like he was part of the furniture. A manager approached, Derek, middle-aged, thinning hair, the eager smile of someone always trying to please the people above him. "Hey, Cal, maybe park in the back lot from now on. Way in the back. We have important guests. You understand?" "Optics." Cal nodded slowly. "I will move it." He had stopped caring what people like this thought years ago. Their opinions did not define him. Their laughter did not diminish him. Their blindness was their own problem. But then he heard it, a voice cutting through everything. His heart lifted and sank at the same time. Beckett was walking across the parking lot, 10 years old, backpack bouncing on thin shoulders, brown hair sticking up in the back like it always did. Early release day. The science fair setup was this afternoon. The boy reached him, looked at the well-dressed strangers, at the smirks on their faces, at the car they were all staring at like it was something shameful. His expression shifted. Confusion, then recognition, then something harder. "Dad, what is going on?" Cal put his hand on his son's shoulder. "Nothing, just moving the car." One investor noticed the boy, smiled the way adults smile at children when they think they are being charming, but are actually being condescending. "This your kid?" Cal nodded. Beckett stepped forward. Small for his age, but never shy, never the kind to hide. This car is not junk. His voice was clear, steady. My dad built the engine inside it himself. It took him years. It is amazing. The investor's smile widened. Patronizing. Sure it is, buddy. The others chuckled. They saw a janitor's kid defending his janitor father's broken-down car. Nothing more. But Beckett looked up at Cal with those serious brown eyes. Dad, should we show them? Cal hesitated. He had spent 6 years building what was under that hood. 6 years of late nights after Beckett went to sleep. 6 years of calculations and failures and breakthroughs. He had never shown anyone, but his son was looking at him, believing in him. Okay, just this once. He walked to the front of the car, lifted the hood. The laughter stopped. What they expected was a standard engine, maybe old, maybe modified by an amateur. What they saw made them go silent. The engine was pristine, professionally assembled, custom fabricated parts gleaming in the morning light. Precision engineering that did not belong in a 30-year-old car, did not belong to a janitor. One investor leaned closer, the oldest one, silver hair, sharp eyes. His name was Dr. Henrik Moravec, not just an investor, one of the most respected minds in automotive propulsion systems. His face changed completely. This is not stock. No, it is completely custom. What is the displacement? 3.5 liters. Hybrid electric assist, regenerative braking, adaptive fuel mapping. Moravec's eyes widened. You built this yourself? Yes, every component. His hands trembled as he pulled out his phone, scrolled through documents, technical schematics, patent filings, compared them to what he was seeing. His face went pale. Start it. Cal climbed in, turned the key. The engine came to life. Not loud, not aggressive, just powerful, controlled, perfect. Moravec turned to Sloan Whitmore. His voice cracked. Do you know what this is? She shrugged, annoyed. An old car with a fancy engine. Moravec shook his head. No, this is the same engine architecture that Vanguard Motors is trying to patent. The design valued at $2.3 billion. Silence. Absolute silence. Sloan's smirk vanished. Moravec held up his phone. The schematics. This is the same core design. Exactly the same. He turned to Cal. How do you have this? Cal met his gaze steadily. Because I designed it 11 years ago, before I had a son, before I became a janitor, before anyone at Vanguard Motors ever heard of hybrid propulsion. Moravec's face shifted again. The CEO of Vanguard, Garrison Crail. Who is he to you? Cal was quiet for a moment. He was my manager 11 years ago at Axiom Automotive. I showed him this design, every calculation, every blueprint. He told me I was just a junior engineer, told me to know my place. He paused. 6 months later, he left Axiom, started Vanguard, and now he is selling my design for $2.3 billion. No one moved. No one spoke. Sloan stared at Cal, at the car she had called junk, at the man she had laughed at 5 minutes ago. You are an engineer, I was. Now I clean your office every night. Have for 8 years. He turned off the engine, closed the hood. I am late for my son's science fair. He took Beckett's hand. They got in the car. The engine rumbled to life, and they drove away, leaving everyone standing in silence, staring at the empty space where a piece of junk had just revealed itself to be worth more than most of them would earn in 10 lifetimes. Sloan Whitmore called an emergency meeting that afternoon. Every senior leader, every board member, Dr. Henrik Moravec, legal counsel. They gathered in the glass-walled conference room on the 32nd floor. Moravec stood at the head of the table. His presentation filled the screen. Callahan Vester is not just a janitor. The room waited. 11 years ago, he was a junior engineer at Axiom Automotive. Young, unproven, but brilliant. He proposed a revolutionary hybrid engine design, everything the automotive industry has been chasing for the past decade. He clicked to the next slide. A younger Cal, bright eyes, before life wore him down. The man who rejected his proposal was Garrison Crail, senior manager at Axiom, rising star. Another click. Garrison Crail's corporate headshot, square jaw, cold eyes, the smile of a man who took what he wanted. 6 months after rejecting Cal's design, Crail resigned from Axiom. He took files with him, files that were never accounted for. He founded Vanguard Motors, and 3 months ago, Vanguard filed a patent for a hybrid propulsion system architecturally identical to what Cal designed 11 years ago. The CFO leaned forward. How much is Vanguard's patent worth? $2.3 billion. Murmurs rippled through the room. Sloan held up her hand. Silence fell. Does Cal know about this? He says he has known for 2 years. Then why has he not sued that evening? Sloan drove to Cal's apartment, a small building in a modest neighborhood, the kind of place where working families stretched every dollar. She knocked. Cal answered, still in his uniform. Surprise flickered across his face. Miss Whitmore, what are you doing here? Can we talk? He stepped aside. The apartment was small, clean, photos of Beckett everywhere, school pictures, science fair ribbons, drawings in crayon, a stick figure family with 2 people instead of 3. Sloan sat on the worn couch. I came to apologize for this morning. For what I said, it was thoughtless and cruel. Cal nodded. Okay. And to tell you something, Vanguard filed a patent. Your design, they are selling it for over $2 billion. I know. Sloan stared at him. You know I have been following it for 2 years. 2 years, and you never challenged it. Cal walked to the window, looked out at the Mustang under a streetlight. Do you know why I became a janitor? Sloan shook her head. My wife left when Beckett was 2. She said she did not sign up for this life. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was not a good husband. But I was going to be a good father. He turned to face her. Engineering jobs demand everything. Long hours, travel. I could not do that and raise a son alone. So I made a choice. Steady hours, no travel, benefits. It paid less. But it gave me time. Time to pick him up from school, help with homework, be there. In the engine I built it at night, after he went to sleep. 6 years, piece by piece. Not for money, not for recognition. Just because I believed in it. And because I wanted to show my son that you do not give up on good ideas, just because someone says no. But Garrison Crail stole your work. He is making billions. Cal shrugged. I do not have money for lawyers. Do not have time for court battles. Beckett is 10. I have maybe 6 or 7 years before he does not need me the same way. I am not trading those years for a lawsuit. His voice dropped. Money does not matter if I lose time with my son. Sloan understood. Really understood. What if we helped our company? Legal support, resources. Cal studied her. Why would you do that? Because it is the right thing. And because I was wrong about you. Completely wrong. What would you want in return? Partnership. License the technology. Bring it to market. With you as lead engineer, I am a janitor. No, you are an engineer. You always were. Cal was quiet, thinking. I need conditions. Name them. First, I keep my hours. 9 to 5. No weekends. No late nights. Beckett comes first. Always agreed. Second, creative control. No one overrides my engineering decisions. Agreed. Third, Beckett gets a full scholarship to any university. Engineering program. Agreed. Anything else, Cal's voice grew quieter. Respect for all employees, janitors, security guards, cafeteria workers. No one gets mocked. No one gets told their car is junk because it does not look expensive. Sloan met his eyes. You have my word. They shook hands. The next morning, the announcement went out. Callahan Vester, former janitor, now chief engineer of the hybrid propulsion division. The news spread like wildfire. The janitor, the guy with the old Mustang, the one they laughed at yesterday. People felt embarrassed, ashamed. But the real battle was just beginning, because Garrison Crale was not going to let $2.3 billion slip away without a fight. Garrison Crale sat in his corner office at Vanguard Motors. Floor-to-ceiling windows, view of the Rocky Mountains, furniture worth more than most people's houses, 52 years old, silver at his temples, a face that photographed well for business magazines, the kind of man who had never been told no. His assistant entered with a tablet. Sir, there is a problem. What kind of problem? Solaris Technologies is challenging our patent. Crale's fingers stopped moving. On what grounds? Prior art? They have an engineer who claims he designed the core architecture 11 years ago. Who is the engineer? Callahan Vester. He was at Axiom Automotive. When you were there, the room seemed to drop several degrees. Cal Vester, the janitor. He was a janitor. Now he is their chief engineer. Crale stood, walked to the window. He remembered, 11 years ago, a young engineer with bright eyes, coming to him with blueprints and passion, talking about changing the industry. Crale had seen the genius immediately, the potential, the billions waiting to be made. He had also seen a junior employee with no power, no protection, so he had done what he always did, smiled, said no, and taken what he wanted. Cal Vester was supposed to disappear, supposed to give up, but he had not. He had built the design in his garage, and now he was coming for what was his. Crale's jaw tightened. Get me our legal team. Full mobilization. The attack came within days. Lawyers from Vanguard delivered a cease and desist letter, but they were not defending against Cal's claims. They were flipping the script entirely. Vanguard alleged that Cal had stolen trade secrets from them, that his claims were fraudulent. They threatened criminal charges, civil suits, total destruction. The story hit the media. Janitor claims he invented billion-dollar engine. Vanguard Motors calls it fraud. The headlines were brutal. Social media exploded. Delusional janitor seeks 15 minutes of fame. If he was so smart, why was he cleaning toilets? Cal saw the articles, read the comments, each word like a knife. And the worst part was Beckett. The boy came home from school with red eyes and a split lip. Some kids had seen the news, had repeated what their parents said. Cal knelt in front of his son, cleaned the blood with gentle hands. What happened? They said you were a liar, that you made everything up. Cal's heart broke quietly. Do you believe that? Beckett met his eyes. No. I know what you built, Dad. I watched you do it. Cal held him close, said nothing, just breathed. That night after Beckett was asleep, Cal sat alone in the garage. The Mustang was there, silent, 6 years of his life under that hood. Maybe it was not worth it. Maybe he should walk away. Let Crale have the patent. Protect Beckett from the fallout. He was about to make that decision when he heard footsteps. Beckett stood in the doorway, pajamas, bare feet, those serious brown eyes. Dad, you should be asleep. I could not sleep. The boy walked over, sat on the workbench, looked at the Mustang. Dad, you always tell me not to give up on good ideas, even when people say no. I know. So why are you giving up? Cal closed his eyes. Because I do not want you to get hurt anymore. Beckett was quiet for a moment. Then he said something Cal would remember forever. Dad, if you give up now, then they win. And I would rather get hurt fighting for the truth than live in a world where lies win. Cal felt tears in his eyes, the first in years. When did you get so smart? Beckett shrugged. I had a good teacher, Cal pulled his son close. Let the silence hold them both until the weight lifted. Then he stood, walked to his workbench, started gathering documents. He was not giving up. He was going to war. The shareholder meeting at Vanguard Motors filled the grand ballroom of the Denver Convention Center. 500 investors, board members, media cameras along every wall. Garrison Crale stood at the podium, confident, triumphant. The proprietary hybrid propulsion system developed by Vanguard Motors represents a fundamental breakthrough. We are proud to announce acquisition discussions that will value this technology at over $2.3 billion. Applause filled the room. Crale smiled. This was his moment. Then the doors at the back opened. Cal walked in, jeans, button-down shirt. Behind him came Sloan Whitmore, Dr. Moravec, a legal team, and one more person. An older man with gray hair, Gerald Patterson, former senior engineer at Axiom Automotive, the man who had witnessed everything 11 years ago. The applause died. Crale's smile froze. What is the meaning of this security? But Cal kept walking. His voice carried through the room. My name is Callahan Vester. 11 years ago, I was a junior engineer at Axiom Automotive. I developed the hybrid propulsion architecture that Garrison Crale is selling as his own. Guards hesitated. The room had gone silent. Crale's face reddened. Remove this man. He is a fraud. Cal continued walking. I have documentation, original design files dated 11 years ago. Before Vanguard existed, I have email records showing I submitted this design to Axiom leadership. He reached the edge of the stage, and I have a witness. Gerald Patterson stepped forward, his voice steady despite trembling hands. I was there. I reviewed Cal Vester's blueprints. The work was brilliant, revolutionary, and I watched Garrison Crale copy those files onto a personal drive 2 weeks before he resigned from Axiom. I said nothing because I was afraid, but I am not afraid anymore. The ballroom erupted, shareholders shouting, cameras flashing, Crale's composure shattered. This is a lie. He is a nobody, just a janitor. Cal looked at him. 11 years of silence in that gaze. 11 years ago, you told me to know my place. You said I was just a junior engineer, that I did not have credentials. He stepped onto the stage, face to face with the man who had stolen his future. You were right about one thing. I did not have power. I did not have connections. I did not have money. His voice dropped. But I had something you never understood, something you could never steal. I had the truth, and the truth does not care about credentials. The ballroom doors opened again. 2 men in dark suits entered, FBI badges visible. Garrison Crale. You are under arrest for intellectual property theft, securities fraud, and wire fraud. Crale's face went white. You cannot do this. Do you know who I am? The agent was unmoved. Yes, sir. You are the man who stole a $2.3 billion idea. Turn around and place your hands behind your back. The handcuffs clicked shut, and Garrison Crale was led past the cameras, past the investors, past the board members who had believed every word he said, past Cal, who watched in silence. No gloating, no triumph, just quiet exhaustion and relief. It was over. That afternoon, Cal drove to Beckett's school. The science fair filled the gymnasium, tables with projects, volcanoes, solar systems, experiments with plants. He found Beckett near the back, a small engine model on his table, handmade, every component assembled with care. A blue ribbon hung from the display. First place. Beckett saw him. His face lit up. Dad, you came. Cal dropped to one knee, pulled his son into a hug that said everything words could not. I told you I would not miss it. Did you see I won? I see. I am so proud of you. The judges said my explanation was the best. College level, they said. Cal smiled. You learn from the best. Beckett laughed. That is what I told them. 3 weeks later, Cal's phone rang. Mr. Vester, this is Margaret Chen, Chief Operating Officer at Axiom Automotive. Cal sat at the kitchen table. Beckett was doing homework across from him. I am listening. We wanted to reach out. What happened with Garrison Crail was a failure of our leadership. We should have protected your work. We would like to offer you Chief Innovation Officer. Unlimited budget. $4 million annually plus equity. Cal looked at Beckett. The boy had stopped writing. Watching. Miss Chen. I will have to decline. Silence on the line. May I ask why 11 years ago, Garrison Crail walked into your conference room with my designs? He told you I was just a junior engineer, that I should know my place, and everyone agreed with him. He paused. That is not your fault personally, but it is what your company chose. Choices have consequences. You had your chance to believe in me when it mattered. You chose wrong, but we have changed. Maybe. But the people who believed in me when I was still a janitor, when I was being called a fraud, when my son came home with a bloody lip, those are the people who deserve my loyalty, not the ones who only showed up after I already won. I understand. Cal ended the call. Beckett was watching. Who was that Axiom? My old company. They wanted me back. What did you say? I said no. Why? Cal set down the phone. Because being successful does not mean anything if you abandon the people who believed in you during the hard times. Miss Whitmore, Dr. Moravec, the team at Solaris. They fought for me when everyone else said I was a liar. That matters more than money. Beckett nodded slowly. Plus, this job lets you pick me up from school every day. Cal smiled. That is the most important part. Beckett grinned. That is the best part for me, too. 1 year later. The Denver Museum of Science and Nature unveiled a new exhibit, American Innovation. Inventors and dreamers who changed the world from garages and basements. In the center of the main hall sat an engine, not the Mustang. That still lived in Cal's garage. Paint still chipped. He would never change it. But the engine itself, the original prototype, 6 years of late nights made real. A plaque beneath it read, the Vester Hybrid Engine, designed by Callahan Vester, built in a garage over 6 years while working as a janitor and raising his son alone, valued at over $2.3 billion. Cal and Beckett stood in front of it. The boy was 11 now, taller, still that unruly brown hair. A family walked past, a father and young daughter. The father read the plaque aloud. This engine was built by a man who worked as a janitor, while raising his son by himself. The girl frowned. Why was he a janitor if he was so smart? The father thought about it. Because sometimes life is complicated, sweetheart. Smart people do what needs to be done to take care of the people they love. Cal heard, smiled quietly. Beckett tugged his sleeve. Yeah. Was it worth it all those years? Building something no one believed in. Cal looked at the display, then at his son, every single second. Near the exit, a young man approached, college age, engineering textbooks in his worn backpack. Excuse me, are you Callahan Vester? Cal nodded. I read about you. Your story inspired me. I work nights as a custodian to pay tuition. Sometimes people do not take me seriously because of where I come from. Cal shook his hand. Your job does not define you. Your ideas define you. Your work defines you. People will judge. People will dismiss. Let them. Keep building. Keep learning. Keep believing. Did it bother you when they called your car junk? Cal almost smiled for about 5 minutes. Then I remembered their words did not change what was under the hood. The engine was still revolutionary. My son still believed in me. Everything else was noise. The young man stood taller. Thank you. I needed to hear that. Do not stop. Not for the doubters. Not for anything. He walked away with something new in his step. Purpose maybe. or hope. Beckett watched him go. Do you still have the Mustang? Of course. Are you ever going to fix the paint? Cal laughed. No. How come? Because I like it exactly the way it is. Faded. Weathered. It reminds me that what matters is under the hood, not on the surface. They walked to the parking lot. The Mustang waited. Chipped paint. Dented fender. Beautiful. Will you teach me to build engines? I already am. Every day, by showing you that you do not give up, that you do not wait for permission, that you build what you believe in. Beckett climbed into the passenger seat. Can we go home and work on something? Absolutely. What do you want to build? I do not know yet, but I will figure it out. Cal started the engine. That perfect sound. That is all you need. Curiosity, persistence, and someone who believes in you. Beckett smiled. You believe in me? Always. No matter what. They drove home as the sun set over the mountains. That night they sat in the garage. The Mustang rested in his place, silent, its work complete. Beckett was sketching in a notebook. A new design, his own idea. Cal watched him, saw the concentration, the same focus he had felt all those years ago when the world said no, and he said yes anyway. Yeah. Do you think everyone has something valuable inside them? Something other people cannot see? Cal thought about janitors and CEOs, about students working night shifts, about dreamers and single parents and everyone ever told they were not enough. Yes, I believe everyone does. So why do people not look for it? Because looking takes effort. It takes caring enough to see past the surface. Beckett nodded, returned to his sketching. I think everyone has an engine hidden inside them. Something powerful. Most people just never let anyone see it. Cal looked at his son, 11 years old, wiser than he had any right to be. That is exactly right. Beckett picked up his pencil. But we are different. We show people what is possible, and maybe they start believing in their own engines too. Cal said nothing, just watched his son work. The Mustang sat in the corner, paint chipped, body worn, perfect. Some things do not need polish to shine. Some things just need someone willing to look beneath the surface. And some things, the most valuable things, are built not for money or fame, but for the people we love, for the chance to show them that good ideas do not need permission, that genius does not need credentials, that dreams do not need approval. They just need persistence and someone who believes.